I came to his penthouse to destroy him, plant a kill switch, steal the data that could free my father. One night. That's all I had before everything disappeared forever. But when Kenji Sato kissed me in the dark, when his blood stained my hands, when I had to choose between saving the man I came to betray or letting him die, I made a choice that cost me everything. Now he's flatlined in my arms, my aunt wants us both dead, and the countdown just hit 0. This is how a night in his arms became my nightmare. Before we begin, besties, please don't forget to like and subscribe. This is your only way of supporting us, as we also promise to bring you interesting and hooking stories. The rain came down hard in Tokyo's Shinjuku district. Kiko pressed her hand against the cold glass of the elevator as it climbed higher and higher into the night sky. 47 floors. 48. 49. Her reflection stared back at her. Dark eyes. Hair pulled tight into a sleek ponytail. A red silk dress that clung to her curves, the fabric catching the light with every breath. It was bold, dangerous, exactly what she needed to look like she belonged in his world. But her hands were shaking. She curled her fingers into fists and thought about her father, his kind face, his gentle voice, the way he used to fix her broken toys when she was small. Now he sat in a prison cell for crimes he didn't commit, crimes that the previous CEO of Ether Technologies had pinned on him. The elevator chimed softly. 50th floor. The doors opened onto pure luxury. White marble floors. Floor-to-ceiling windows, showing the glittering city below. Rain streaked down the glass like tears. Everything was silent except for the soft hum of expensive air conditioning. And standing by the window, looking out at his kingdom, was Kenji Sato. Kiko's breath caught in her throat. He was tall, broad shoulders wrapped in a perfectly tailored black suit jacket. The white shirt beneath was crisp and perfect, the top button undone just enough to show the beginning of the dragon tattoo that curved up his neck, scales and smoke rendered in black ink, a mark of the world he truly belonged to. His hands were in his pockets, relaxed, like he owned the world. Because he did. At 29, he controlled the largest technology empire in Asia. But that wasn't all. That dragon tattoo told a different story. The Yakuza. Old power. Dangerous power. He didn't turn around when she stepped out of the elevator. "Miss Tanaka," he said quietly. His voice was smooth and cold, like expensive whiskey over ice. "You're late." "Traffic," Kiko lied. Her heels clicked against the marble as she walked closer. "Not too close." "The rain." "I don't accept excuses." He finally turned to face her. Kiko's heart slammed against her ribs. He was beautiful in a way that felt wrong. Sharp jaw, dark eyes that seemed to see straight through her. A small scar cut through his left eyebrow. His expression was completely neutral, but there was something dangerous in the way he looked at her, like a tiger watching prey. "You said you have access codes," Kenji said. He moved away from the window, walking in a slow circle around her. "Proprietary security protocols from the Hachiman defense system. Very valuable. Very illegal." Kiko kept her face calm. "I do. And you want to sell them to me?" "Yes." He stopped in front of her, close enough that she could smell his cologne. Something dark and expensive. "Why?" "Money," Kiko said simply. Kenji tilted his head slightly. "You're lying." Her pulse jumped. "I'm not." "Everyone wants money," he interrupted. "But people like you don't risk their lives for it. You were one of the best security engineers in Japan before you disappeared. Now you show up at my door with stolen access codes." He leaned in just slightly. "What do you really want?" Kiko forced herself to hold his gaze. This was the moment. The test. If she flinched now, she was dead. "My father is in prison," she said quietly, "for crimes your predecessor committed. I need money for lawyers, for appeals, for a life after this." It wasn't entirely a lie. That made it easier to say. Kenji studied her face for a long moment. Then he stepped back. "Show me proof that the codes are real." Kiko reached into her small purse and pulled out a data chip. She held it out to him. "Sample authentication. It'll verify against your current system." He took the chip from her hand. Their fingers brushed for just a second. His skin was warm. "Follow me," he said. He led her through the penthouse. Every room was perfect. Minimal furniture. Expensive art on the walls. Everything was designed to show power without saying a word. They walked down a long hallway and stopped at a heavy steel door. Kenji pressed his palm against a scanner. The door hissed open. The server room beyond was cold and filled with the soft blue glow of machines. Rows and rows of equipment hummed quietly. This was the heart of his empire. Every secret, every transaction, every piece of blackmail and evidence that kept the Sato family in power. Kiko's target. Kenji inserted her data chip into a terminal. Lines of code scrolled across the screen. He watched in silence. Then he nodded once. "It's real," he said. "Of course it's real." He pulled the chip out and turned to face her. "Now we negotiate price." 5 million yen, Kiko said. "Untraceable. Cash." Kenji laughed. It was a quiet, dangerous sound. "No." Kiko blinked. "No. Money is easy," he said. "I want something more valuable." He stepped closer. "Loyalty." "I don't understand." "One night," Kenji said softly. "Stay here. Prove to me that you're not just another thief trying to get rich. Prove that you understand what loyalty means in my world." Kiko's blood ran cold. "You want me to?" "I want you to stay," he interrupted. "That's all. If you can make it until sunrise without running, without betraying me, without showing fear, then I'll know you're serious. And I'll pay you 10 million yen instead of 5. It was a trap. It had to be. But Kiko thought of her father. She thought of the small data miner device hidden in the lining of her purse. She thought of the hours of planning that had brought her to this moment. She met Kenji's eyes. One night, he agreed. He didn't shake her hand, didn't smile. He just watched her with those dark, unreadable eyes. And Kiko realized with a chill that she had just made a deal with a man who could destroy her with a single word. The steel door closed behind them with a heavy click. The server room was freezing. Kiko wrapped her arms around herself as Kenji moved to a central terminal. His fingers flew across the keyboard. Lines of code reflected in his dark eyes. He was checking her sample data against his live security system. She needed to plant the data miner. Now, while he was distracted. "Tell me about your father," Kenji said suddenly. Kiko's hand froze halfway to her purse. "What? Your father?" He didn't look up from the screen. "What did they say he did?" She swallowed hard. This was a test. Another one. Corporate espionage. Selling defense contracts to foreign governments. They found encrypted files on his personal computer. Bank accounts in his name. Witnesses who swore he was the leak. But he didn't do it. "No." "How do you know?" "Because I know my father," Kiko said quietly. "He taught me to code when I was 7 years old. He used to say that technology should protect people, not hurt them. He would never." Her voice cracked. She stopped. Kenji finally looked at her. His expression hadn't changed. "The previous CEO of Ether Technologies was my uncle, Takashi Sato. He died 2 years ago. Heart attack." Kiko said nothing. "My uncle was a cruel man," Kenji continued. "He built this empire on blackmail and blood. When I inherited his position, I found files. Evidence of things he'd done. People he'd destroyed." He paused. "Your father's name was in those files." Kiko's breath stopped. "He was framed," Kenji said. "My uncle needed someone to take the fall for a failed defense contract. Your father was convenient, honest, easy to manipulate." Rage burned hot in Kiko's chest. "You knew. This whole time, you knew my father was innocent, and you did nothing." "I've done nothing yet," Kenji corrected. "There's a difference." "What difference?" Kiko demanded. "My father is rotting in prison while you sit in your tower counting money." "I sit in this tower," Kenji said coldly, "because if I don't, 20,000 people lose their jobs. Because if I don't, the Yakuza factions tear this city apart fighting over the scraps. Because if I don't, everything my family built, good and bad, collapses." He closed the laptop with a sharp click. "Don't lecture me about sacrifice." The silence between them was thick and dangerous. Kiko took a slow breath. "Why did you tell me this?" "Because I want you to understand something." Kenji walked toward her. "In my world, innocence doesn't matter. Only power matters. Your father was powerless. That's why he fell." "And what am I?" Kiko asked. "That," Kenji said, "is what I'm trying to figure out." His phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and his expression shifted. Just for a second. A flash of something. Concern, maybe. Or anger. He typed a quick response and pocketed the phone. "Problem?" Kiko asked. "Always," he muttered. In that moment, Kiko saw it. The crack in his armor. He wasn't just a ruthless CEO. He was a man carrying weight that would crush most people. A man trapped by his own name. His own blood. She thought of her father's words. "Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about." Be kind. Her hand slipped into her purse. The data miner felt cold against her palm. Kenji turned away to check another terminal. His back was to her. This was her chance. Kiko moved quickly. She knelt beside one of the server racks and found the port she needed. Her hands worked on autopilot. She designed systems like this before. She knew every vulnerability, every backdoor. The data miner clicked into place. A tiny red light blinked once. Then it went dark, active and invisible. Kiko stood up just as Kenji turned around. Cold? He asked. She realized she was shaking. A little. He shrugged off his suit jacket and held it out to her. Here. Kiko stared at the jacket. At him. I don't need. Take it, he said quietly. Not an order. An offer. She took it. The jacket was still warm from his body. It smelled like his cologne, like rain and something darker. Kiko pulled it around her shoulders and felt something shift in her chest. Something dangerous. This was supposed to be simple. Get in. Plant the device. Get out. But nothing about Kenji Sato was simple. Come on, he said. I'll show you the rest of the penthouse. We have a long night ahead of us. As they walked out of the server room, Kiko glanced back at the blinking lights of the machines. The countdown had already started, and she had just lied to the one person who might have been honest with her. The main living area was stunning. Windows stretched from floor to ceiling, showing the glittering chaos of Tokyo below. Rain continued to hammer against the glass. The furniture was minimal. A low black couch, a glass coffee table, expensive abstract art that Kiko didn't understand. Kenji poured 2 glasses of whiskey at the bar. He handed one to her. I don't drink when I'm working, Kiko said. You're not working right now, Kenji replied. You're waiting. There's a difference. She took the glass. Their fingers touched again. That same warmth. Kenji moved to the window. He stared out at the city like it was a living thing. Do you know what the worst part of power is? Kiko stayed by the bar. Tell me. Knowing that you can't use it to fix the things that matter, he said quietly. I control billions of dollars. I have politicians in my pocket. I could ruin lives with a phone call. But I can't bring back the people my uncle killed. I can't undo the damage he did. I'm just cleaning up his mess. Forever. You could walk away, Kiko said. Kenji laughed. It was a bitter sound. No, I can't. The moment I step down, someone worse takes over. Someone like my uncle. Or worse. He took a long drink. I'm trapped. Kiko felt something twist in her chest. She knew that feeling. The weight of impossible choices. My father used to say that traps are just doors we're afraid to walk through, she said softly. Kenji turned to look at her. Really look at her. Your father sounds like a wise man. He is. They stood in silence. The rain continued to fall. The city lights blurred through the wet glass. Why did you really come here tonight? Kenji asked suddenly. Kiko's pulse spiked. I told you. You told me a story, he interrupted. A good one. But I don't believe it. He walked toward her slowly. You're not just here for money. You're here for revenge. She should have lied. Should have deflected. But something in his eyes stopped her. Yes, Kiko admitted. I want justice for my father. I want the people who destroyed his life to pay. Even if that means destroying mine. Even then. Kenji stopped in front of her. Close. Too close. You're honest. I didn't expect that. You asked. Most people lie to me, he said. They tell me what they think I want to hear. They smile and bow and stab me in the back the moment I turn around. His jaw tightened. You're different. I'm not, Kiko whispered. I'm exactly like them. No, Kenji said. You're not. He reached up slowly. His hand brushed against her cheek. His touch was gentle, careful, like she was something fragile. Kiko's breath caught. This was wrong. This was dangerous. This was. Kenji leaned in. The kiss was soft at first. Questioning. His lips barely touched hers. Kiko's mind screamed at her to pull away. To remember the mission. To remember her father. But her body didn't listen. She kissed him back. The gentleness shattered. Kenji's hand moved to the back of her neck, pulling her closer. The kiss turned desperate. Fierce. Like they were both drowning, and this was the only air left in the world. Kiko's hands gripped his shirt. His heart was racing under her palm. Fast. Real. He wasn't the cold CO anymore. He wasn't the Yakuza heir. He was just a man. A man as trapped and desperate as she was. The kiss broke. They stood there, breathing hard, foreheads pressed together. This is a mistake, Kiko whispered. I know, Kenji said. We can't. I know. But neither of them moved. Suddenly, a sharp alarm split the air. Red lights flashed along the ceiling. Kenji jerked back, his hand automatically going to his phone. What is that? Kiko asked. Kenji's face went cold. Hard. The businessman was back. He pulled up a security feed on his phone. His expression darkened. Someone's in the building, he said. Bypassing security. Heading here. Kiko's blood turned to ice. Who? Kenji's eyes flicked to her. For just a second, she saw suspicion there. Then it was gone. Stay behind me, he ordered. The main elevator chimed. The doors opened. A man stepped out. Tall. Wearing tactical gear. A gun in his hand. But it wasn't a stranger. It was Akira, Kenji's head of security. And the gun was pointed directly at Kenji's chest. Sorry, boss, Akira said. Nothing personal. Time stopped. Kiko stared at the gun in Akira's hand. Black metal. Cold. Final. Kenji didn't move. His body was tense, but his voice stayed calm. Akira, what are you doing? What I should have done months ago. Akira stepped closer. The gun never wavered. You're weak, Kenji. Just like your father. You think you can run this empire with honor? With mercy? My uncle was a monster, Kenji said quietly. Your uncle was a king, Akira snapped. And you're just a boy pretending. Kiko's heart pounded. She needed to move. To do something. But her body felt frozen. Who sent you? Kenji asked. The Iron Eye Group. They're tired of waiting for you to fail naturally. They want ether technologies. Tonight. They sent one man? Kenji's tone was almost mocking. I'm enough. It happened fast. Kenji grabbed the glass coffee table and flipped it toward Akira. Glass exploded as Akira fired. The bullet punched through the window behind them. Rain and wind howled into the room. Kiko screamed. Kenji moved like lightning. His fist connected with Akira's jaw. The gun flew from his hand and skittered across the floor. But Akira recovered quickly. He pulled a knife from his vest. The blade flashed silver as he slashed at Kenji's throat. Kenji jerked back. Not fast enough. The knife caught him across the ribs. Blood bloomed dark across his white shirt. No! Kiko heard herself shout. Kenji stumbled. His hand pressed against the wound. Red seeped between his fingers. Akira smiled. Just a boy. He raised the knife again. Kiko moved without thinking. She threw herself between them. Her hands raised like she could stop a blade with willpower. Don't, she gasped. Please. Akira stared at her. Move, girl. This doesn't concern you. It does. Behind her, Kenji's hand touched her shoulder. Warm. Steady despite the blood. Kiko. Get out of the way. No. Kiko. I said no. She didn't understand why. She came here to destroy him. But watching him bleed, watching him fight, she couldn't let him die. Akira's expression shifted. You're protecting him? After everything the Sato family took from you. Kiko's breath caught. How do you know? We know everything, Akira said. Your father. The frame job. We even know why you're really here. His smile widened. Did you think you were the only one with a plan? Horror flooded through her. They knew. About the data miner. About the kill switch. The server room, Kenji said behind her. His voice was tight with pain. What did you do? Kiko couldn't speak. She planted a kill switch, Akira said. Wipes your entire network. Every secret. Every crime. All gone. And when they find you dead, they'll blame the system failure. Kenji's hand tightened on her shoulder. Not angry. Just holding on. How long? He asked. Akira checked his watch. 4 minutes. For minutes until everything was destroyed. For minutes until the data that could free her father was wiped forever. For minutes until Kenji lost everything. Kiko's hand found Kenji's phone in the jacket pocket. Her thumb flew across the screen. She found the building's environmental controls. She entered a command sequence her father had taught her. What are you doing? Akira demanded. The lights died. Total darkness swallowed the penthouse. Emergency systems shut down. Even the city glow disappeared as the windows darkened automatically. Kiko heard Akira curse. Heard movement. The knife hitting the floor. Then she heard Kenji move. A grunt. A crash. Flesh hitting flesh. When the emergency lights flickered on, dim and red, Kenji stood over Akira's unconscious body. His shirt was soaked with blood. But he was alive. He looked at Kiko. You saved me. Again. I didn't. Her hands shook. I wasn't. You sabotaged the building to save me, Kenji said. He stepped toward her, winced. Why? I don't know, Kiko whispered. The emergency alarm shrieked. Steel shutters began sliding over the windows. The kill switch, Kenji said. His face had gone pale. Can you stop it? Kiko checked the phone. 3 minutes, 40 seconds. Maybe. If I can get to the server room. Kenji pulled a key card from his pocket. His hand was covered in blood. This will get you through any door. Stop it, Kiko. Please. What about you? I'll be fine. You're bleeding. I'll be fine, he repeated. His dark eyes held hers. Stop the countdown. Please. She took the key card. Their fingers brushed. Then she ran. Kiko sprinted through the dark hallway. Emergency lights cast everything in red. Her heels clicked against marble. Her breath came in gasps. 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Kenji's keycard worked like magic. Each door hissed open. She burst into the server room. The cold hit her hard. Servers hummed louder in the darkness. Indicator lights blinked. Red, yellow, green. She ran to where she'd hidden the data miner. Pulled it free. The device was warm. Active. A tiny screen showed the countdown. 2:47. 2:46. She connected it to the phone. Code scrolled across the screen. The kill switch was already spreading through the system like poison. Her fingers flew. She'd built this program. She'd put in failsafes. Backdoors. She just had to remember them. 2:15. Come on, she whispered. Come on. The door hissed open behind her. Kiko spun around. A woman stood there. Mid-40s. Sharp business suit. Cold eyes. Miss Tanaka, the woman said calmly. Step away from the server. Who are you? Yuki Tanaka. The woman smiled without warmth. I'm your aunt. Kiko's world tilted. No, that's impossible. My aunt died. Your father lied to protect you, Yuki said. She moved closer. A sleek black pistol appeared in her hand. He didn't want you to know what I'd become. 147. You work for the Iron Eye Group, Kiko said. I am the Iron Eye Group, Yuki corrected. And you made my job easier. I needed someone who could crack Kenji Sato's security. Someone brilliant. Her smile widened. Family is convenient. Kiko's stomach dropped. You set this up. All of it. Destroy him from the inside, Yuki said. Yes. In 90 seconds, everything he built will be gone. And we'll pick up the pieces. This will destroy my father, Kiko said. Her voice broke. The evidence that could free him. Your father was weak, Yuki said coldly. He chose honor over power. Look where it got him. She raised the gun. Step away. 1:15. Kiko looked at the countdown. At the data miner. At her aunt's cold eyes. She thought of her father. Of Kenji bleeding in the penthouse. Of the kiss that changed everything. No, Kiko said. Excuse me. I'm stopping it. She entered commands. The screen flashed. Error. Override code required. Her heart sank. The kill switch needed 2 codes. Hers. And Yuki's. Looking for this? Yuki held up her phone. You can't stop it without me. 047. Please, Kiko whispered. Aunt Yuki, please. I care about you, Yuki said. That's why I'm teaching you the most important lesson. Love is weakness. The only thing that matters is power. The gun clicked. Step away, or I'll make your father an only child. Kiko's mind raced. 39 seconds. No way to stop it. Unless. Her eyes found the fire suppression controls. It was crazy. Dangerous. But it was the only option. I'm sorry, Kiko said. She slammed the emergency shutdown. Every server died instantly. Fire suppression activated with a deafening hiss. Foam exploded from the ceiling. Yuki shouted. Fired blind. The bullet sparked off metal inches from Kiko's head. But Kiko was already moving. She grabbed the data miner and ran through the foam-filled darkness. Found the door. Swiped the keycard. Stumbled into the hallway. The door sealed behind her, trapping Yuki inside. Kiko collapsed against the wall. Her dress was covered in white foam. The data miner was dead in her hands. She'd stopped the countdown. By destroying everything. Kiko ran through the maze of hallways. Red emergency lights. White walls. Alarms blaring in Japanese and English. She didn't know if Kenji was alive. Didn't know if Yuki had escaped. She just knew she had to keep moving. The elevators were dead. Stairwells sealed. But Kenji's keycard opened some doors. She turned a corner and nearly collided with him. Kenji leaned against the wall. One hand pressed to his bleeding side. His face was gray. Sweat dripped down his temples. But he was standing. "Kiko," he breathed. She rushed to him. Her hands went to his wound. The blood had soaked through everything. Too much blood. "You're hurt. Did you stop it?" Kenji interrupted. His dark eyes searched her face. "The kill switch. I had to shut down the servers," Kiko said. "Emergency protocol. Everything's offline. But the data, I don't know if anything survived." Kenji closed his eyes. For a moment he looked like he might collapse. Then he straightened. "Okay, we need to move. Akira's people will be coming. You need a hospital. I need to get you out." His hand found hers, warm and slick with blood. "There's a service elevator, not connected to the main system." They moved through shadows. Kenji's breathing was labored. Kiko kept her arm around his waist. "Why did you do it?" Kenji asked suddenly. "Do what?" "Save me. Twice." He glanced at her. "You came here to destroy me. You could have let them kill me. Why didn't you?" Kiko didn't have an answer. Or maybe she did, but saying it out loud felt too dangerous. "Because you didn't deserve it," she said finally. "You're not your uncle. You're not a monster." Kenji stopped walking, turned to face her in the red light. His hand cupped her face. His thumb brushed her cheek. "You don't know what I've done," he said softly. "I'm not innocent. Neither am I." They stood there. Two people covered in blood and lies. Two people who should have destroyed each other but couldn't. Kenji leaned down, his forehead pressed against hers. "When this is over," he started. "Don't," Kiko interrupted. "Don't make promises we can't keep." "I want to keep them," Kenji said. His voice was rough. "I want to figure out how to clear your father's name. I want to take you somewhere that isn't covered in blood. He stopped. "I want to know what this could be." Kiko's eyes burned. "People like us don't get happy endings. Maybe we make our own." He kissed her. Slower this time. Deeper. Like he was memorizing her. Like he knew this might be the last time. Kiko kissed him back with everything she had. All the fear. All the desperate, impossible feelings she couldn't name. When they broke apart, they were both breathing hard. "Come on," Kenji said quietly. "Before I change my mind about leaving." They found the service elevator behind an unmarked door. Old. Industrial. Nothing like the luxury elevator from before. Kenji swiped his keycard. The elevator groaned to life. They stepped inside. The doors closed. The cage descended. "Where does this go?" Kiko asked. "Parking garage. Sublevel 3. I keep a car there." Kenji leaned against the wall. His face was even paler. "Private exit. No cameras. And then we disappear. Until I figure out who I can trust." The elevator creaked downward. 49 floors. 48. 47. "I'm sorry," Kiko said quietly. Kenji looked at her. "For what?" "For everything. For lying. For making you trust me when I was planning to betray you." "But you didn't betray me," Kenji said. "You chose me." He took her hand. "Why doesn't that matter?" "Because my father is still in prison. Because the evidence is probably destroyed. Because I traded his freedom for." She gestured helplessly. "For what?" "A kiss." "It changes everything," Kenji said fiercely. "I have resources. Money. Lawyers. With what proof?" "The files are gone." The elevator shuddered. Slowed. Sublevel 1. Not sublevel 3. The doors didn't open. Kenji pushed away from the wall, alert. "Something's wrong." "What?" The ceiling panel exploded inward. Two men dropped through. Black tactical gear. Masks. Guns. Kenji shoved Kiko behind him. "Stay back." But there was nowhere to go. One man grabbed Kenji. Slammed him against the wall. Kenji fought back, but he was too weak. The man's fist connected with his wound. Kenji gasped. "Went down." "No!" Kiko screamed. She lunged forward. Her nails raked across the attacker's mask. He backhanded her. She crashed into the wall. The second man pulled out a syringe. "Hold him," he ordered. They pressed Kenji against the floor. He struggled, but he was too hurt. The needle plunged into his neck. "Kenji." Kiko crawled toward him. His eyes found hers. Dark and desperate. "Run," he whispered. His eyes rolled back. His body went limp. One man grabbed Kiko's arm. Twisted it. Pain exploded through her shoulder. "Miss Tanaka," a familiar voice said. Yuki stepped through the elevator doors. Her suit was covered in foam, but her eyes were sharp and cold. "Did you really think foam would stop me?" she asked. "What did you do to him?" Kiko demanded. "A sedative. He'll wake up in a few hours." In an Iron Eye facility. Yuki smiled. We have questions. The men dragged Kenji's unconscious body out. His head lolled. Blood still seeped from his wound. Let him go, Kiko begged. Please. Family is weakness, remember? Yuki said coldly. I don't have a niece. I have an asset who's outlived her usefulness. She nodded to the man holding Kiko. He dragged her into the parking garage. Dark. Empty. Footsteps echoing. Kiko saw Kenji being loaded into a black van. Saw the doors close. Saw it pull away. No, she sobbed. Please. Yuki walked up to her. You had a choice. You could have let the network burn. Could have freed your father. Instead, you chose him. She leaned close. Hope is poison. And now you'll pay for drinking it. She turned away. Take her to the secondary location. The man dragged Kiko toward another van. She fought. Kicked. Screamed. The van door opened. Darkness inside. Hands grabbing her. Then nothing. Kiko woke to pain. Her head throbbed. Her shoulder ached where they'd twisted her arm. Her mouth tasted like copper and chemicals. She opened her eyes slowly. Concrete room. No windows. A single bare bulb hanging from the ceiling. The air was cold and damp. Water dripping somewhere in the darkness. She was zip-tied to a metal chair. Panic surged through her. She pulled against the restraints. The plastic bit into her wrists. Drew blood. You're awake. Kiko's head snapped up. Yuki sat across from her. Clean suit. Perfect hair. Like she hadn't just orchestrated a kidnapping. Where's Kenji? Kiko demanded. Her voice was hoarse. Safe. For now. As long as he cooperates. If you hurt him, you'll what? Yuki laughed. You're tied to a chair. Your father's in prison. The evidence is destroyed. You have no leverage. Kiko's mind raced. She needed to think. Find a way out. Why am I still alive? Because you're family, Yuki said. Despite everything. So I'm giving you one chance. She leaned forward. Work for me. Help the Iron Eye group dismantle what's left of the Sato Empire. And I'll make sure your father gets a new trial. New evidence. Freedom. You're lying. I'm not, Yuki said. I can produce witnesses. Documents. Everything needed to prove his innocence. Her eyes glittered. All you have to do is stop fighting. Stop caring about Kenji Sato. Kiko stared at her aunt. At the woman who looked like her father, but had none of his warmth. What happened to you? Kiko whispered. Father said you used to be different. Something flickered across Yuki's face. Pain, maybe. I grew up, she said quietly. I learned that believing in things gets you killed. Or worse, gets the people you love killed. She stood. 24 hours to decide. Work for me, or join your father in prison. She walked to the door. Knocked twice. It opened. Harsh light spilled in. Oh, Yuki said, pausing. She pulled out her phone. Turned the screen toward Kiko. A live video feed. Kenji. Strapped to a hospital bed. Still unconscious. Monitors beeping. And 4 in his arm. A man in tactical gear stood beside the bed. Gun in hand. One word from me, Yuki said, and he dies. Remember that. The door closed. The lock clicked. Kiko was alone. She pulled against the zip ties. Again. Again. Her wrists burned. Bled. But the plastic wouldn't break. She wanted to scream. To give up. But she thought about Kenji's words. Maybe we make our own ending. She thought about her father. Traps are just doors we're afraid to walk through. She thought about the kiss. And she started looking for a way out. The chair was old. Metal. Bolted to the floor. But the left bolt was loose. She could feel it shifting. She rocked her weight. Back and forth. Back and forth. The bolt groaned. Shifted. Hours crawled by. Her wrists bled freely. Her muscles screamed. But she kept rocking. Finally, the bolt snapped. The chair tipped sideways. Kiko crashed to the concrete. Pain exploded through her shoulder. But she was moving. She dragged herself across the room. Found a rough edge where the concrete had crumbled. Began sawing the zip ties against it. Her hands shook with exhaustion. With blood loss. But she kept going. The plastic finally snapped. Her hands were free. Kiko stood on trembling legs. Still locked in. Still trapped. But not helpless. She examined the door. Heavy steel. Electronic lock. No way to pick it. But above the door was a ventilation grate. Kiko looked at it. Looked at the metal chair. It was crazy. The vent was small. She might get stuck. But staying meant betraying Kenji. She dragged the chair under the vent. Climbed up carefully. The grate was screwed tight. Kiko used the broken bolt to work the screws loose. 1, 2, 3, 4. The grate fell with a clatter. She pulled herself up into darkness. The metal duct was cold and narrow. She had to crawl through the blackness, her bloody hands leaving prints. She didn't know where she was going, but she kept moving forward. After what felt like hours, she saw light ahead. Another grate. Kiko crawled toward it, looked through. A hallway. Empty. Industrial lighting. Concrete walls. She kicked the grate. It fell with a bang that echoed. Kiko dropped down, landed hard. Her legs nearly gave out, but she was out. Now she just had to find Kenji before Yuki discovered she'd escaped. Kiko moved through the facility like a ghost. She had no idea where she was. Some kind of warehouse. The halls were maze-like. Empty rooms. Locked doors. The smell of rust and machinery. She found a room with discarded gear. Grabbed a jacket to cover her torn dress. Found a phone someone had left charging. She powered it on with shaking hands. Pulled up a map. The GPS showed her location. An abandoned industrial complex outside Tokyo. Miles from the city center. No money. No transportation. No weapons. But she had Kenji's keycard. Still in his jacket pocket. The jacket she was still wearing. She pulled it out. Smeared with blood but intact. If they'd taken Kenji, they might have brought him here. She started checking rooms systematically. Storage. Empty. Maintenance. Empty. Office. Empty. She was running out of time. She turned a corner and nearly ran into a guard. His eyes widened. Hey! Kiko grabbed a pipe from the maintenance room. Swung hard at his head. He went down. Kiko stood over him, breathing hard. She'd never hurt anyone before. But for Kenji she would. She dragged the unconscious man inside. Took his radio. His security badge. The radio crackled. Status check all units. North sector clear, someone responded. East sector clear. Then, medical wing all clear. Package is still secure. Medical wing. Kiko pulled up a facility map on the phone. Found the medical wing. 3 floors up. She ran. The security badge got her through locked doors. Past checkpoints. Into stairwells. She climbed. Her legs burned. Her lungs screamed. But she didn't stop. 3rd floor. Medical wing. The hallway was quiet. White walls. Fluorescent lights. The smell of disinfectant. One door at the end had a guard posted outside. Kiko ducked behind a corner. Thought fast. She picked up the radio. Keyed the microphone. All units, we have a breach in the north sector. Subject is armed and dangerous. All guards report immediately. The radio exploded with chatter. The guard at the door listened. Then spoke into his radio. Copy. En route. He jogged past her hiding spot. Kiko ran to the door. She pressed the security badge against the lock. Nothing. Wrong clearance. No, no, no. Then she remembered. Kenji's keycard. She pressed it against the lock. The door hissed open. Inside, Kenji lay on a hospital bed, still unconscious, hooked to monitors. The Ford dripped into his arm. His wounded side was bandaged, blood seeping through. Kenji, Kiko whispered. She rushed to him, started pulling wires, disconnecting monitors. The machines began to alarm. Kenji's eyes flickered open, unfocused, drugged. Kiko. His voice was slurred. You're here? I'm here. Tears streamed down her face. I'm getting you out. Can't walk. Then I'll carry you. She pulled his arm over her shoulders, dragged him upright. He was heavy, stumbling, but together they made it to the door. Alarms blared. The facility had realized her lie. They needed to move fast. Kiko half-carried, half-dragged Kenji down the hallway. He tried to help, but the drugs were too strong. They reached the stairwell, started descending. Voices echoed below. Guards coming up. This way, Kenji mumbled. He pointed to a service door. Loading dock. They stumbled through, found themselves in a massive garage. Trucks, equipment, and at the far end, an exit, daylight. But between them and freedom stood Yuki. She wasn't alone, for armed guards flanked her, guns raised. I'm impressed, Yuki said. Her voice echoed. You escaped, fought through my men, rescued your prince. She smiled. But this is where your story ends. Let him go, Kiko begged. Please. Whatever you want from me, I'll do it. Just let him go. I don't want anything from you anymore, Yuki said. You've proven you can't be trusted. Can't follow orders. Can't put logic over emotion. She shook her head. You're too much like your father. Weak. Kenji tried to stand straighter. His hand pressed against his bleeding side. She's not weak. She's the strongest person I've ever met. Yuki laughed. Coming from a man who can barely stand. He's right, Kiko said quietly. She stepped forward, put herself between Kenji and the guns. My father taught me that real strength isn't about power. It's about choosing love even when it's terrifying. Choosing hope even when it's hopeless. Choosing to protect people even when it costs you everything. And what has it cost you? Yuki asked. Everything, Kiko admitted. The evidence to save my father. My freedom. Maybe my life. She looked back at Kenji, at his dark eyes watching her with wonder. But I'd make the same choice again. Then you're a fool, Yuki said. She raised her hand. And then the loading dock doors exploded inward. Police cars flooded the garage. Dozens of them. Lights flashing. Sirens wailing. Officers pouring out with weapons drawn. Nobody move, a voice boomed. Drop your weapons. You're surrounded. Yuki's face went white. How? Kenji smiled through the pain. I triggered an emergency signal before your men sedated me. My security team has been tracking my location. He looked at Yuki. Did you really think I'd walk into tonight without a backup plan? The guards dropped their weapons, raised their hands. Yuki stood frozen, surrounded, defeated. You're under arrest, an officer said, approaching with handcuffs. For kidnapping, attempted murder, corporate espionage. As they cuffed her, Yuki looked at Kiko. This isn't over. Yes, Kiko said quietly. It is. They dragged Yuki away. Kenji collapsed. Kiko caught him, lowered him gently to the concrete. Stay with me, she pleaded. Kenji, stay with me. Paramedics, someone shouted. Emergency personnel rushed over, started working on Kenji, checking his vitals, his wound. Kiko held his hand the entire time. His eyes found hers. Lucid now despite the drugs. You came for me. Of course I did. Even though it cost you everything. Even though the evidence is gone. My father would understand, Kiko interrupted. He would tell me I made the right choice. Did you? Kenji asked. His thumb brushed across her knuckles. Do you regret it? Kiko looked at him. At the man who'd shown her that enemies could become something more. That love could bloom even in the darkest places. No, she said. I don't regret it. Kenji smiled. Weak. Pained. But real. We need to get him to a hospital, a paramedic said. Now. They loaded Kenji onto a stretcher. Started wheeling him toward an ambulance. He held onto Kiko's hand. Wouldn't let go. Come with me, he said. I will, Kiko promised. I'm not going anywhere. As they loaded him into the ambulance, Kiko climbed in beside him, held his hand as the doors closed. As the siren started, Kenji's eyes were closing, drifting. But before he slipped away, he whispered, Don't leave me. Never, Kiko said. The ambulance doors sealed shut. The vehicle lurched forward. And as Tokyo blurred past the windows, rain still falling, neon still glowing, Kiko felt Kenji's fingers tighten around hers one last time. Then his grip went slack. The heart monitor beside him began to scream. A long, continuous tone that meant only one thing. No, Kiko shouted. No, no, no. The paramedics swarmed, hands pushing her back. Someone shouting orders. The defibrillator charging with a high-pitched whine. Clear. Kenji's body jerked. The monitor continued its flat, terrible scream. Again. Clear. Another jolt. The monitor screamed on. Kiko pressed her bloody hands against the ambulance wall. Watched through tears as they fought to bring him back. As the man she'd chosen, the man she'd saved, slipped away despite everything. Please, she whispered. Please don't leave me. The monitor screamed, and the screen faded to black. To be continued. Hey besties. The countdown hit 0, and everything exploded. Kiko saved the network, but at what cost? Is Kenji Sato truly gone? She's facing a war alone with the evidence she needs to save her father, but the man she loves might be dead. What happens when forbidden love leads straight into tragedy? Part 2 is coming, and you do not want to miss what happens next. Did Sato survive? Will Kiko's father ever be freed? Smash that like button and drop a comment begging for part 2. We need to know if this love story ends in heartbreak or hope.